Hello and welcome to Clyde Bridge Station. Today this is video number 16 of this layout, and this is a review video. What you see here on the fueling point track is one of the two Bachmann Mark IIF BSOs which I recently took delivery of. Now they actually came a couple of days after filming of the November update, and I'm going to give a review of the Mark IIF BSO, and I'll provide a little contrast to the Hornby one which you see parked there on siding number 3. The Bachmann Mark IIF BSO is a further development for the Mark IIF DBSO, which I'm waiting to actually receive from Hattons. They're waiting on their delivery coming in, and Bachmann are out of stock of them at the moment, so as soon as I get them in there'll be a review of that. And again, that should provide another interesting contrast as well. Constructed in the 1970s, the Mark IIF BSO was the latest development in the air-conditioned range of Mark II coaches that BREL had built. These ones, I believe, were constructed at Derby originally, and originally carried the blue and grey livery, but were later repainted into the Intercity livery as depicted here. This one carries the Royal Alphabet lettering as opposed to the swallow lettering. The Mark IIF BSOs were mainly allocated to motor rail trains and some West Coast routes that went on to non-electrified lines, such as to Aberdeen or Inverness. The Mark IIFs were allocated, at the time of this setting of this layout, which is in 1989, they were allocated to Pool IWCX and were allocated to Oxley Carriage Depot, Wembley, that's OX or WB, and Manchester Longsite, MA, although in reality they could have finished their working day for light servicing at any other depots such as Edge Hill in Liverpool, Palmady in Glasgow, Craigentinny in Edinburgh, Inverness, Aberdeen, Holyhead. So there was a whole load of places they could have finished their working day at. After the introduction of driving van trailers onto the West Coast route, some of these Mark IIF BSOs were moved on to cross-country work, and that's actually how they finished their days. A small handful are still in use in locomotive hauled rakes, such as the 2 peak hour workings on the Fife Circle. The Mark IIF BSOs were the last brake vehicles to be constructed for British Rail until the advent of the driving van trailers for both the West Coast and East Coast main lines. No Mark III brake vehicles were initially constructed with the Mark III order, and these were also significantly the last brake vehicles constructed that also had passenger accommodation in them. That's a situation that has now changed with TransPennine Express's new push-pull trains using the Mark V carriages and the Caledonian Sleeper Mark V carriages. So seating accommodation on them both will have brake vehicles, so there'll be a combined brake and passenger seating on them. Like the Mark IIF coaches, which I have on the daytime set and which I reviewed in a previous video, the Mark IIF BSO comes with a full detailing kit, and this is the sort of thing that you get with it. Now it includes all the details that you could use if you so wish to. You've got also there a pipe coupler, and I'll talk about that briefly in a few moments. And you can also see here, you've got it's a tail light. I don't know if you can just see that there. It's a tail light, and there's a tool, a metal tool that you can actually use to put the tail light on. Now the Mark IIF that Bachmann have produced here on its 2018 tooling is in the correct Intercity livery. The colours do differ a bit from that of the Hornby one. Bear in mind that Hornby one there is a 2016 release, and this is a 2018 release. The ends of the cars, first of all, are in the grey livery. Now that's important because on some of the other Bachmann coaches it's in an orange livery, but I believe these ones at the time that still had the Royal Alphabet lettering, the end connecting doors were actually painted grey. It has the detailing letter-wise down there, with its C1 and the various other things telling you it's an AE2F BSO, maximum speed 100 miles per hour. It also tells you that on the other side. It has also got the flashes for the beware of the overhead wires. Now if I just contrast that with the Hornby one, folks, you can tell me what one's right. Is it that one that's right or that one that's right for this colour round the rim here? Let me know what you think. One other thing I do notice is that the Hornby one has a data panel on it, whereas that one doesn't actually have the data panel on it, but it's got some information down there. So I suspect what's happened is this Hornby one, by the way, carries the Swallow livery, Swallow style lighting. So I suspect what's happened is that this is the pre-overhaul version, this is the post-overhaul version. Let me know what you think about that, folks. Now internally the seats are very difficult to pick out here, but there you go. The seats have got the red on them, the red moquette on them, and they have also picked out the luggage van area here, the luggage cage, and it's very difficult to see, but I think that what they've done there is that that's a little corridor connection there, sorry, there's a little corridor connection there, and I think what they've went and done is actually putting a bit of plastic in there and printed on a cage. It's very difficult to tell from that. The Hornby one has just got a couple of bars on it, and I notice also with the Hornby one is that there's no actual luggage cage on there. So Bachmann have actually produced a really good version here to actually have the luggage cage put in there in the corridor going around. So it was actually very good work there by Bachmann. I also notice that they have got the load 3 tons evenly distributed lettering there, which isn't on the Hornby one. And I also notice that the Hornby one, the font is slightly different for the numbers, but that's not something to make a fuss of. It's got private on this door here on the Hornby one, whereas on the Bachmann one it's actually got a guard. I don't know what's right, because obviously bear in mind that Intercity were calling their guards at one point senior conductors, and also bear in mind that the Bachmann one carries the Royal Alphabet lettering, whereas the Hornby one carries the Intercity lettering. When we look at the underframe equipment, Bachmann have picked this out quite well. One thing I have noticed is with the Bachmann one is that this little fan here has got a cover on it, whereas on the Hornby one it's a different arrangement of the fan. I just wonder if that's something to do with overhauls or not. It's very difficult to pick out there, but there is a different arrangement of the fan on it. The Hornby one, by the way, if you notice as well, has got a rather crudely sticker there to simulate the door opening light, which is understandably not on the Bachmann one, because obviously this was in the days before central locking. Nothing I can do about that, it's just how I'm going to have to deal with it. One thing I've also noticed with the Bachmann one, in contrast to the Hornby one, and I'll just move this out the road so you can actually see it again, is this bit above the door here. Oops, somebody's sending a message. This bit above the door here, it looks to be slightly different, that vent, compared to that one there in the Bachmann one. And I also noticed that these ridges here on the Bachmann one are slightly more protruding on the Hornby one. I don't know what's actually the correct one or not. The colours, this bottom beige bit is a bit darker on the Bachmann one than on the Hornby one. But again, as I say, the Intercity Swallow style could be that slightly bit different from the Real Alphabet style. Also interesting to note that the no smoking stickers have actually been applied to all the windows here, as is correct. They weren't actually applied to this one for some reason. Now we'll take a look up on the top of them as well, because again we've got another little interesting contrast between them. And if you actually notice, I'll just bring this one to here, it gives you a chance to see the roof equipment. This here, at this end, the passenger end, on the Hornby one there's an extra piece here which is not shown on the Bachmann one. I don't know what that bit is actually for. It may be to do with the central locking, so obviously that might be an extra bit that was only there at later refurbishments. What I did notice as well though is that these sorts of air ducts here are of a different shape between the two of them, and I don't see any reason why that would be the case. Also on the Bachmann one, the lifting hooks are correctly spaced. We've got there's enough space under them, whereas there's just little stick-on studs really on the Hornby one. And the vents, I'm presuming these are vents, are of a different shape here compared to the Hornby one. I'm not 100% sure what's right. I suspect it could well be this one that's actually the right one. But as you see there, compared to that. So as I say, I don't know what's the correct one there. Now, the one criticism I would make of the Bachmann one, in contrast to the Hornby one, well, it actually seems to stem down to this part here, and it's all to do with putting your detailing on. There's no detailing that's applied for the Hornby ones, but the problem with the Bachmann one is that if you put certain details on, you can't put the coupling on. So obviously that's something that needs to be looked at by Bachmann, especially for people like me who have terminal rakes. I won't be putting all the detailing on, but I will actually be telling you about something else that I'm thinking about. Now, you saw 47834 Firefly go out and bring back in the daytime stock, and I was giving that a bit of a test, and I noticed when it was going downhill there's been a tendency for the coaches obviously to push against each other. Now I've actually done that there with that's the actual ramp there. I sent the sleeper stock down, which you'll see at the end, you'll see it leaving the scene, but that's it there, and I didn't encounter the same problem. These two coaches here are Lima coaches. It's only the BSO, it's the Bachmann coach, and it's actually led me to think for the daytime stock, it's just the normal NEM couplers that's in between them. I'm actually thinking about instead using these to connect between the two, the inners of the rake. They're pipe couplings, and what would happen is I wouldn't use them on either end of the rake where the locomotive would be, but I would use them instead in between the coaches. So really, in effect, this middle coach, this Mark 2F TSO, would not have any NEM couplers at all on either end. It would just be one of these. That's what I'm giving thought to, is using that to connect them up. Let me know what you think, if I should just go ahead and do that, because I'm wanting to see if that's going to solve the problem of the derailment. and if that might keep them apart and help them to run better. I should point out that I've not got any plans to just keep uncoupling this rake and swapping it about, and they'll just stay coupled, so it might actually be a good idea for me to go and try that. So do let me know what you think about that. Now that brings to an end this month's update, which is just a brief review of the Mark II BSOs. The December update should hopefully be with you on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, depending upon how things go. And what we'll have then will be news on a bit more work that's going to hopefully be done in the town scene regards pavements, and also some more power supply to both the station and the depot as well. If you have got these Bachmann Mark II coaches at all, by the way, do let me know. I know that Dean Park Station has them, so if there's anybody else out there that's got them, please let me know what you think of them as well, and let others know what you think as well. As well as Dean Park Station, Everard Junction's been to the Worley Model Railway Show, so check him out. Thanks to Strathpeffer Junction, who follows me now both on YouTube and on Twitter. Strathpeffer Junction is his Twitter ID as well, so do check him out. And I've also got New Junction, who follows me as well, so check his layout as well. And if you like the West Midlands, then check out Dudley Central. His is set in the Central BR era as well, and I'm pretty sure they would all love to hear from you. So that completes this update finally, and I shall see you around about the Christmas period, when hopefully there'll be a little bit more work done here on the station. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching this update, and I hope it's given you some food for thought about the Bachmann Mark II coaches, particularly this one here, the new arrival, the BSOs. Bye bye for now.